Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another educational webinar episode thing that we don't have a name for yet. Sponsored by SMA Support Services, and we're going to bring Adam Patterson on here in a minute. But today we're going to talk about how to best utilize and use VAs inside of your organization so you can perform better. Because a lot of people get questions about how do we use that? Like, I'd really like to have a VA, but like, what do I actually do? How do I give them tasks? How do I do all the things, right? So we're going to start off here. I'm going to show a quick little clip and an intro video, and then stay tuned, and we'll be right back, and we'll bring Adam in right away. We're going to take a quick little break here. I want to stop and thank our new sponsor. If you're serious about getting your time back and scaling your business, then SMA Support Services is your secret weapon. I use SMA for all of our support and admin tasks. Everything from back office management, day-to-day admin, even a call center. Their team frees up my staff to stay focused on high-level, revenue-generating activities. And that, let me tell you, is a fucking game changer. SMA isn't just support. They're a partner that keeps our operations running smooth and efficiently. So if you want to focus on growing your business and leave the support work to the pros, hit up SMA Support Services. All right, and we're back.
Sick. That was
cool. I figured it out. What's up, everybody? Welcome, Adam Patterson, to the show.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. Everyone might think that we ran that ad because I was late, and this was a way to cover for my ass not being on time. No, I was here early, and in fact, you can't run the ad and have me in the room at the same time. So yes.
Well, I can. I wanted to do it a little different because, like, before I'd bring both of us on, and then it was like I was already introducing you, and it was fucking weird.
Yeah, no. What you really want now that I've got this fucking beautiful mustache, you wanna. It's called foreplay, Eric. It's called foreplay. We got to prime the pump, get it a little lubed up, and then right, and then we. Yeah.
How long do you think you'll keep that?
Tomorrow. There's a great benefit, I'll tell you, to laughing at myself every single time I see myself in the mirror. It's pretty funny. I'm not like, it sucks out today, so I haven't been out in public to really own it. I might want a little bit of time tomorrow to like see the reactions, to see like women clutching their children as I walk by them in the store.
I think you got to stick by it. I think you got to pick how long you'll keep it and like really do it, like a 75 hard type of thing. Right. And be like, I'm keeping this for 30 days, no matter what anybody says to me, I'm keeping it.
Ultimately, it's how long am I comfortable not getting laid? I think it's right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a give and take to this.
I don't know, man. Like, if you go buy a motorcycle, like, you're set.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I am. I want to go. That's the thing, is there are whole biker bars and all kinds of shit that I can go to now that we're just like a whole brand new world.
You can do all kinds of crazy shit.
And by the way, one of us looks like a roofer now, and it ain't you. It ain't the actual roofer.
It ain't me. That's fine. Yeah. I'll let you have that title. That's fine. How's Adam been? Adam good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm busy. Yeah. Right? I'm busy, which is if only I had like, support staff to take some of these things off my plate.
Right.
No, I've been quite busy, quite good, having a bunch of fun working with my friends down at Southern Premier Roofing, Kent Graham, Brad, the whole team down there.
Yeah, he's pretty.
He is pretty. Yes, you described him. I think we talked about this maybe in the last webinar.
Like, to his face. Yeah. No, he's pretty.
Correct. Yes, he is a pretty man. Yeah, I felt awfully gay telling him that, but
so
I let you do it for me. Anything gay, I'm gonna let you take charge of.
If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, fucking that motherfucker's probably a duck.
So we're gonna talk today about how to utilize VAs, and one of the things that's interesting to me is finding the place to start. Right.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest challenges that I hear from folks is like it's twofold. Right. The first is like, well, I don't even know where I would start with something like this. And the second most common thing I hear all the time, and this one makes me chuckle, is like, well, there's no way that I could find 40 hours to work a week. And I would like, I mean, my first point to that would be, if you don't think you've got 40 hours of undercapitalized work happening in your business every week, then you're running your business totally wrong, right? Like completely wrong. So there are things that you wish that you had the ability to do in all likelihood that you don't. And that's either because you don't have the man hours or labor hours to do them yourself because you're too primarily focused on things that kind of anybody can do, or they're not worth your time and investment, though they might provide value back to the business. So we talked about this a bit, but like I always tell people to go through that exercise, right? Even if it's over the course of a week, right? Column A, like the most important things that I have the ability to do that only I can do that are my unique genius. And we talk about this. You and I talk about this often. We did again last episode 2 weeks ago, which is like as an owner, as a company owner, or as a sales leader within your business, your time value back to the business conservatively $500 to $2,500 an hour. And people don't recognize that, right? They're just like, I know this work. I'm familiar with this work. I can do this work, but they don't think of it through the continuum of opportunity cost, which is like, yeah. And also I'm worth $2,000 an hour to my company. So should I be doing this 2.5 hour estimate that kind of anybody could do if I provided the right tools and resources around it?
And I know one of the fears too, just to piggyback off of what you're saying is so that we can address it is one of the fears is they're like, well, fuck, then I have to go train somebody to do all of these things. Yes. Right. And so, and I'm guilty of this too in the beginning, right? Because I was like, I get so short-sighted, right? It's just like, it's just like integrating a CRM into your business if you haven't had one before, right? It's like, you're like, I can just fucking do this on paper and whiteboards. It's fine. That's how I've been doing it for 20 years. And everything seems, I'm making money, right? But it's that initial investment of time to get everybody dialed in so that you can have that opportunity cost to be able to step away.
Yeah. And there's that aspect of it. It's a really important one, which is like what I consider to be the kind of the time investment continuum, the time and control continuum. And I hear this a lot too, which is like, well, I'd rather have somebody here in person because then I have more control over it. Right. Which is, that one's awfully funny to me because
because it's just not fucking true.
No, sure isn't. Yeah, absolutely isn't true because then that's somebody you have to manage and you have to oversee. And like, again, as we talk about often, like realistically might be in the job for 3 or 4 months. So then you're reinvesting, training their replacement like 3 or 4 times in the course of a year. So it's not like, that's the great thing about systematizing work and then offshoring that work is that you can ensure that workflow happens consistently the way you want it to each and every time. And that God forbid, right, Godzilla climbs out of the ocean and eats your team member, that there's a training mechanism behind it that someone else can be brought live within a couple of days, right? So,
and that first exercise that you were talking about too, right? Like everybody, and I tell everybody this that like calls me and asks me about, about you guys and like how we utilize you and all that kind of stuff. And you were talking about that exercise during the beginning. Everybody just needs to go buy Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time. Yeah. Buy Back Your Time. That book is literally a fucking textbook on how to utilize SMA, right? Yes. And it's got all of the exercises inside of the book that you can do and go answer the questions. And then when you answer the questions and then you bring people on, you can be like, fuck, I already got it figured out.
Is a really important note. And I, by the way, I love throwing the F word around. It's my favorite fucking word, but it's why my favorite part of our time together. This is an important note on that book. And Chris Durrell, whose name I see here, is a big believer in it. So he calls it one of the books that changed my entire life, is what he refers to that book as. But that is not one you do as an audiobook, just to be clear.
Oh, no.
You've got to get the hard copy. You've got to read it. You've got to do the exercises.
Yeah. That's one of those. But yeah, you have to read it.
Yeah.
It's the first book that I ever downloaded the assets.
Yeah.
Ever in my life. Like, I never did that.
Yeah. So, and that's it. Like that exercise that I talk about, right? Hey, the things that only I can do that I'm best at, the things that kind of get in a way that anybody can do, and the things that I wish that I could do, but I don't have the time to do today. I think, whether or not you use SMA, is an executive, as a leader, as a company owner, it's a really good way to do a time audit, right? And you should be fairly consistently. We do it. We get in the habit of doing it internally as a leadership team with an SMA every month, right? Which is auditing our own time expenditure and figuring out, like, is that really the most appropriate investment of like the way that I'm spending my limited resource? And no matter what you do, you're never going to get more time in the day. Day's always going to be 24 hours long, right?
So if somebody was interested, because like I kind of did it backwards, right? Because when I started working with you guys, I built out a call center first and spent a bunch of time building that out for business development and lead gen and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
And then I went and got somebody to help me, right? As I grew that team, and then got somebody to help Natalie, and then got somebody to help estimating. Do you think that I did it backwards? Do you think that if people are looking and they're like, man, where do I start? Should the first leader start there to start taking shit off of his plate so then he can start understanding what it truly looks like so he can start doing it for his team?
Yeah, it's a really, I get this question a lot too, right? Which is like, where do I go? And there are two important things that, regardless of where you start, that I always think that you should, consider pointing outsourced services at. One of those is top line revenue, and one of those is bottom line as well.
So
I like you.
I hit a button.
You're all right. Like Director Eric. Yeah. Listen, I have the
fucking around. Yeah. Sorry.
I have got the pornography stash. As you're the director, should I go sit on the couch and you can ask me if it's the first time I've ever done something?
Yeah. You could be. Are you going to be the cuck in the corner or?
So, I always say, like, you should think about an outsourced service on like, how do I generate and drive top line revenue, and then how do I protect my liability and exposure on the bottom line in terms of my, bringing in my receivable, right? So there should always be a part of this. That's the good word. Yeah. So there should always be a part of this that thinks about the financial impact, right? And that's a direct financial impact instead of indirect. So when I talk about indirect financial impact, like that is, the owner, you're the bottleneck, right? Most owners that I talk to, they wear every hat. They're the sales manager, the op leader, the project manager, the quality control, marketing director. Like that grind plateaus growth because you're firefighting instead of building systems. So, and there's a way to build a systematic approach to escape that trap, right? That's what Martel talks about. And you can think about it like your annual income goal divided by 2,000 hours is your hourly rate. And that's the really good way financially to begin to conceptualize, like, what am I worth to my business and should my time be invested here? Yeah. But like in terms of immediate impact, so I get that question a lot, right? Which is like, where do I start first? I always say, like, go to pain, treat pain first. And sometimes pain doesn't look like, hey, I might be making enough money, right? But like, if I take estimating off my sales reps plate, maybe that means they go from 2 appointments a day to 4 appointments a day, and they're converting another lead every single day. Right. So I'm generating revenue indirectly because I'm treating the pain that's the bottleneck or the block from that team being able to address that themselves. So,
yeah, because specifically if we're talking about sales reps too, a lot of people make their sales reps do way too fucking much. Right. Like just absolutely way too much. And I understand if you're on the archaic fucking stupid 10-50-50 split thing, you're expecting them to do everything. But like, what's the point?
Even then, that's how stupid. Can I just for a minute, because I feel really passionately about this? How fucking stupid are you? I pay him to do that. Fuck out of here, you do. You pay him to make you money. That is why you pay him. You pay him to make you money. And the more money he makes, the more money you make too, idiot. So you should be empowering him to make as much fucking money as possible. And if it means that it's not like, maybe it means it's a 12-50-50 and your overhead expenditure is a little bit higher, but like they're getting 50% profit share of a much bigger fucking pie, they're going to be considerably happy and more fulfilled. And my background, right, is In-Q-Tel, and In-Q-Tel is a foundational principle on high growth, high velocity companies, which is your sales reps should be spending 80 to 90% of their time in direct revenue generating activities at the close, the step before the close, or the step after the close. That is it. Nothing else. Anything else is a complete fucking waste of time. Like business is a giant math equation, right? That's all you have to do is put the right integers in. You will have the right outcome. So
you said integers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You cut out for a second and then it like.
Yeah, that's to be clear. I said there's an I-N word, not an N word, just so we're all on the same page here.
I was just checking. You're from Boston. So I mean, Oh, fuck. These are fun. It shocks me that anybody even fucking watches. I think they watch to see the train wreck, to see like what's going to happen, like which one of us is going to get canceled first.
Yeah, well, dibs.
I just don't have anybody to report to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, likewise, I suppose. But
yeah,
I think if we're going to make a bet, and I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the guy with the porno mustache is probably going to get canceled first.
Yeah, I would cancel you first too.
Yeah, for sure.
I would cancel you too. Okay, so let's get back to it. So we start with the pain point, right? So it's taking the time to identify what that pain point is, so that you can, because once you once you relieve that pain, here's what I'll say from like personal experience. So once you start, and if you start relieving a pain for other people inside of your organization and not even you to start, right? Because that was what I kind of did. Like I said, I went the other way and I didn't start with me. And I started with others in trying to help them generate leads and things like that so that they weren't having to knock doors all fucking day. So that we were having the ability to go rehash old client lists so that we don't have to have the guys doing that all the time, right? I'm going to start using our call center team to start rehashing every client that we've had in the last 5 years that we've got in the system to start selling Christmas lights. Right. And like, we're going to start doing that right now. Now, am I going to get wealthy selling Christmas lights? Absolutely not. But what will happen is I will get paid to be able to get a lead to get up on a roof.
For
So
sure.
that seems like a good fucking deal.
Right. Roof maintenance programs, right? Roof
Right.
sprays, like there's all kinds of stuff. Like,
And
they're
nobody
getting
wants to spend the time though to go after those low ticket items, right? Because that's the problem. Because as roofing sales guys, they want to go out and get a $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000 commission on every sale. So they don't want to go out and sell low ticket items, which I don't either. I get that, but you start adding up those low tickets and they become uh recurring, right? And all of a sudden they become recurring revenue. Well, now your business is worth a shitload more,
Yeah.
right? And now all of a sudden, I mean, now you're changing multiples and EBITDAs and all this different stuff that matters in business because you have this recurring revenue. So, and being able to set those appointments, that's the real key. Did you send me a private chat? Hang on. Oh, there. Just said I'm here. Okay, got it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was stuck in the waiting room.
I'm just breaking down the fourth wall for everybody. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. This is
I
what
don't even know what I said, but
5 minutes early, although I had to wait until the fucking commercial ran.
Got it. Okay. So, yeah, whatever. Pain. We're taking away.
The pain. And that's it. Like I tell folks, like, I don't know where your biggest pain is, right? But we are effectively as a Swiss Army knife for any kind of operational pain that you have going on within your business, right? And that could be like, I need to hire another staff accountant because we're switching to an accrual accounting system and like closing out prior months is a little bit hard. And like my wife, the CFO, wants to kill me every month, right? Is like we get to month end or we get to the first 2 weeks of that following month. Like that could be the biggest pain that exists within your business today. It doesn't always necessarily, you might say I've developed a really incredible process around our sales flow, our sales funding. We've got in-house, client success representatives that are managing that homeowner relationship. So my sellers are just out signing contracts, kissing babies and getting deals, right? So like, I don't need that help, but I've got these other pains and helps that I need, support that I need within my business. So like, I tell people to don't think about like, I'm going to drop this magic formula into my company and make a fuckload more money. No, like I'm going to like drop this thing into my business and I'm going to be protected against all my risk. No, but what we can do is treat and triage pain and operational pain. And oftentimes that like what is behind that pain is an opportunity for capitalization, right? You've got an undercapitalized talent asset traditionally within the business because they are weighed down by things that are not really their focus or their job, or that take them away from their highest value and highest impact activities. So if I were going to start, that's where it would be.
So why do you think, and I know we've answered this before and we've alluded to a lot of it, even here now in this episode, but what do you think the biggest fear is in why guys will sit on the fence for so long and not pull the trigger and actually move forward?
Yeah. Lack of control is a part of it, right? They feel like this is mine. I know how to do it. When I'm in charge of it, I can handle it. And if I'm not in charge of it anymore and I'm not driving the outcome, that's a part of it. Like that's what I would call that's the fear that presents itself. The layer underneath that is a very different fear, which is I'm not sure I know how to do the strategic shit. And if I don't have the tactical things to do anymore, then I have no excuse to go do these things that I'm not really that familiar with. And I can't figure out how to do myself. Right. That's what I would.
I think it's more of that.
It is more of that. And if we're going to be direct and honest, it's really what's driving a bit of it. Like people get, we all work on dopamine. Your brain is a big fucking reward system. It's a big, huge reward system, right? And we all love dopamine. And a great way to get more dopamine hits is to feel that sense of accomplishment or achievement. And we can continue to feed that dopamine center by doing things that we know how to do to get that quick hit time and time again. And when we risk losing that, right, we get afraid. We shy away from it. So,
yeah, I think we need to we need to figure out a way, just as partners and people that we know, like we know people need this, need this service, right? And when you find the right people, that you want to be able to work with, I want to brainstorm on how we help them get over that hump, right? Because I think that I equate it to like when guys want to get sober, but they refuse to do something, or they refuse to take the action, or they refuse to take the step, or whatever it is that they're afraid of doing, and then like we try to push them along a little bit and just always be there, whatever it is. And I'm just trying to brainstorm of like how we, and I'm not saying we're going to solve fucking world problems here. This is how my brain works. Right. But like,
I would love to. Let's,
yeah,
can we?
But I would genuinely like to, because like everybody that watches this or listens to this later, and they're like, I don't have any VAs, or I do have VAs and I just hired them off of Upwork, and then I have to manage them and I do all of these things, but I'm paying $5 less an hour or blah, blah, blah. Like they don't see the difference. I think that's actually something that we should touch on, is because I did that before, right? Where I had a couple of VAs off of Upwork and I was paying them less money, but I was fucking working more just to fucking deal with them all the time and manage them, right?
What happened? Do you remember what happened when you said, I've had her for a few years, I'd love to pull her into your business. Would you guys be willing to hire her? Do you remember what occurred, Eric?
Yeah, everybody said no. And then did somebody talk to her? I can't remember, but I don't know if anybody talked to her. I can answer
it. We audited her work and we figured out that she was only working like 20% of the time that she was billing you for. So, hold on, you're a mute, Eric. Yeah, we get this. It's Eric's figuring out how to unmute himself. We get this a lot, right? Which is like, yeah, I hired my own VA, had him for years. Would you guys be willing to hire him? And, we're always open to it, right? Like, pull it into one single infrastructure. We offer our people and their dependents healthcare. We take really good care of our employees. We're a culture-first organization. We want to pull anyone we can into that tree, particularly if they have something to add and a value to add back to our clients. What always happens is we start to audit their work, and they're working like 15 to 20% of the time they're billing our clients for, and which is what happened in this instance.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they fucking, like, we found out, I mean, I was basically being stolen from. Yes. Like, at the end of the day, I may have been paying her $12 an hour, but I was really paying her $80 an hour because I didn't know what the fuck she was doing or when she was doing it, right? Because I didn't have anybody out there to actually manage that. And I don't have time to manage an admin staff. That's not my fucking job.
If you, like, I'll be honest, if you are like concerned about $8 an hour, you are not my client.
Right.
You're right. Like, you don't understand like the value of non-billable infrastructure and a series and systems of controls that ensure that you're getting 80 to 90% utilization of an asset that you're putting in place within your company.
And if that's your concern and you're fucking watching this, you know who else you are? You're the guy that fucking sells the job for fucking $385 a fucking square on a goddamn insurance job, and then tries to fucking send in fake invoices.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, the $7 million roofer doing $100,000 in profit. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It ain't about what you did in top line.
Because they don't understand value. Right. So, like, how can you expect other people to understand your value when you're going and selling work, but then you don't understand value when it comes to having like actual solid staff and support staff with it? Right. I don't know why I got so angry about that right now, but like that really bothered me for some reason. But like, people need to understand that, because I do hear people say that a lot, and they're like, well, I can go get somebody for this much an hour. And it's like, well, then fucking go do it. But you're going to have to fucking bust your dick taking care of them. And these people aren't being taken care of by anyone. Right. And here's what the other thing I'll say is, when I had my other staff, every fucking day, all I heard is my internet's out. I need to pay a bill. I don't have any money. I don't have this. Like, can you forward me? Can you front me this? Can you do this? Can you do that? Half my goddamn day was dealing with that bullshit. Right. And because they're 5,000 miles away, I have no way to confirm or deny, you know what I mean? Like, I have no way to audit any of that or anything. It's like, well, if I want her to keep working, I guess I better send her $500. You know, like, It was, I mean, for real. Like,
no, I know this happens often. Yeah. I mean, when people, when it's the one objection that I kind of, sometimes people have to learn lessons themselves. So I go, okay, go do it. Like, when that doesn't work, I'll be here. But if you
Do you say these are the things that are going to happen so that when they come back, you can be like, I told you those things were going to happen.
Nope, I know they're going to come back, so I just let them go figure it out themselves.
Okay.
I'm not gonna have a childish argument with somebody over $6 an hour. Like, I'm just not.
Yeah.
It's not like, if you don't see value in having 3 staff that are managing your person that you're not paying directly for, that are all rolled into one cost, so that, like, our goal is to take things off of your plate, not like, if you want to save $6 an hour and you have to own all of it, have fun.
Yeah, which means you're not saving any of it, because
beyond that, there's, just to be clear, there are laws in the Philippines. So we're a certified employer in the Philippines, which means that our people are all certified employees of SMA Support Services. What that means is that there is a law in the Philippines which says, as a certified employee, you cannot moonlight, i.e., you can't have 2 jobs at once. But if you hire a contractor, they can have as many jobs at once and work as many concurrent contracts at one time as they would like to. So what they tend to do is work 4 or 5 different contracts at one time to make $40 or $50 an hour and just go wherever the work is, which is why I often hear from people that use these services. I don't hear from them for 3.5 hours and I don't know where they went, right? I'll tell you where they went, to one of the other contracts that they're supporting concurrently at the same time as you, right? We don't run into that issue because we are a Philippine business. So, there are, like, I could go on and on and on and on about the reasons to not go that route, but I think it's funnier for me when they make that fuck up themselves and come back tail in hand. So
because they find out that the pain's great enough to make a change, right?
Sure.
That's the big thing, is that you have to identify that the pain's great enough to make a change, and then you will. I guess I love doing these for 2 reasons. One is I love being able to educate, and I need to do a better job. I'm going to apologize, but I need to do a better job of leading these up so we can start getting questions as well.
I'd love questions. Questions would be great.
Because I want to start doing like a Q&A on these as well, so that people that are interested can start doing that, so that we can dig into whatever. And if anybody has a question here in the next 5 minutes or whatever, drop it in the comments. We can see them and they'll jump up there and we can answer them. But I want people to be educated so that they do the right thing, right? Like, because like when we go sell a roof, right? I tell every homeowner, I have the book that I wrote, right? How to hire a contractor. And I tell my guys, give them the book and be like, hey, look, even if you don't hire us, which you should, but even if you don't hire us, I want you to have the knowledge of how to hire somebody properly so that you don't get fucked over. I still want you to be educated, right? And that's why I get so passionate about this, because I want to make sure that we are educating so people are making actually good decisions with their time and with their money. I think that's really, really, really fucking important. And then the second reason I love doing it is because, and I don't give a fuck like what anybody says, I appreciate the shit out of you guys, not because of this or sponsorships or any of that stuff, but because of the relationships that we've built and the stuff that you guys have done at SMA to help me grow my business, right? Like, that has been so important, so integral. And the things that have been taken off of the plates of the people that I give a shit about here, right? And they appreciate it, right? Like, all of my staff come in and they're like, dude, thank you. Like, now I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. I can go focus on this, and like, our whole team is part of our team. Our SMA team is part of our team. They're in our group chats. They show up to our monthly company calls. Like, they came to our Christmas party virtually last year. Like, everything. Like, it's all, so it's just important to me that I say that, because I want everybody to really understand what that dynamic looks like.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And you're right. That's like what you described is one of my favorite things, which is like, when you start to provide this kind of layer of support for your staff, you get the best version of them all of the time, right? Not some of the time, but all the time. You get the best version of that employee and that staff member. One of my favorite things, whenever I get on site with my clients and like, I'll work with some of their sales leaders or work with some of their sales reps, and I'll tell them, like, why aren't you having your SMA agent do this for you? Right. And they'll look at me like, I can. Like, 100%. We do that all the time. We had this same experience earlier this week with, guy trying to build a new market for one of my clients who, we talked about, I think your approach should be a little bit of what I call one-to-many marketing. So go get in front of insurance agents, real estate agents, property managers, right? And I was like, I'll pull you a list of folks that you have the opportunity to call. We can set some meetings for you. And he's like, all right, how should I call him? What should my approach be? I was like, no. That's your SMA agent's job. Your SMA agent's going to call to set those appointments for you. And you and I can talk about what your pitch could be and should be, and like how you provide value back to that other party. But this is like, rather than just go canvas in a brand new market to get a handful of houses, like that's an important part of what you need to do too. But like you need a one-to-many market. And I had a meeting with him today, and he said, I've had 4 meetings already in 2 days of calling. I met a guy yesterday who said he's going to have 10 leads for me later on this week, who's been an insurance agent in this market for 35 years. Right. So like, that's something where now that instead of that guy trying to pull up a phone list in the middle of canvassing, in the middle of working a couple of builds that he's doing, in the middle of putting together estimates, now he just shows up to this meeting and this appointment and gets a major referral source so that he can create a footprint in a new market for that business. Right. And that's that's the value back that you have an opportunity to provide.
I love that. All right. I said we're always going to keep these around 30 minutes to keep people, engaged and entertained. I'm always going to give you the last word. What would you like to leave the people with before next time?
This wonderful pornography mustache, just drink it all in today, because I don't think it's here and long for this world.
I think it should be. Just for the record, I think it should be.
Yeah, fair.
I think you should at least commit to it for 30 days.
For 30 days. I'm going to go assault my local community here with it tomorrow, because I want to see some visceral reactions, some pearl clutching and some hiding of children as I walk through the grocery store.
Either that or just women are just going to fucking walk around dripping as you walk.
I've got a distinct feeling, Eric, that's not what's going to happen.
No, you don't think that's what's going to happen? I mean, I don't know.
Something tells me that's not.
You might be fucking surprised, my friend. You might be surprised. Everybody out there might be surprised. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We're going to see if I can close this with our outro. I'm trying to get tech savvy here. So Adam, thank you again for being here. Thank you for being part of what we do. We really appreciate your support. So love you, brother. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and take 45 seconds and watch this end of this commercial, please.
We're going to take a quick little break here. I want to stop and thank our new sponsor. If you're serious about getting your time back and scaling your business, then SMA Support Services is your secret weapon. I use SMA for all of our support and admin tasks. Everything from back office management, day-to-day admin, even a call center. Their team frees up my staff to stay focused on high-level, revenue-generating activities. And that, let me tell you, is a fucking game changer. SMA isn't just support. They're a partner that keeps our operations running smooth and efficiently. So if you want to focus on growing your business and leave the support work to the pros, hit up SMA Support Services.